Why peace? The world will tell you this is what the world needs, this is what the world needs, this is what the world needs. But 7 billion people on the face of this earth are crying out for one thing and one thing alone, and that is peace. And peace is not the absence of war. I travel not because I like to travel. I travel so I can say this. What you're looking for is inside of you, and you should be in peace.
Prem Rawat has been traveling for 40 years, inspiring people around the world to find peace within.
Buenos dias. Good to see you. Buongiorno. Guten Tag. Bonsoir, Montreal. I go and I talk to people, and I present them with the possibility of themselves discover the peace that lies within you.
In Sao Paulo, Brazil, the Words of Peace television series began airing a decade ago. Today, it reaches more than 10 million homes each week in the city of Sao Paulo and over 40 million homes in all of Brazil.
Mexendo nos canais da televisão, procurando algo assim interessante, porque é muito difícil de a gente assistir alguma coisa, e também buscando alguma coisa que estava passando um momento muito difícil. E a hora que eu encontrei e comecei a escutar as palavras dele, me tocou muito o meu coração.
É simplesmente sensacional e era o que eu esperava. E é o que Prem Rawat transmite não só ao vivo, pela internet, nos seus DVDs, a sua palavra, enfim, é único e insubstituível.
É como se abrisse portais dentro de mim. São portas, são fechaduras que vão se abrindo. Cada palestra que ele dá, eu fico mais encantada, porque sempre mexe com alguma coisa que estava ali guardada. É muita emoção, eu acho que é emocionante. Amanhã eu volto.
E veio de encontro realmente aquilo que eu estava precisando ouvir. Então, em algumas mensagens dele, eu tenho tirado ensinamentos para o meu dia a dia. Tenho falado para as pessoas das mensagens, dou o site para as pessoas procurarem, falo qual é o canal, mas eu gosto bastante, tem me ajudado bastante mesmo.
Recently, Prem Rawat was interviewed by Fernando Mauro Treza, the president of the Brazilian Association of Community Television Channels.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and I am very honored too to be participating in the 10th anniversary of this beautiful thing, which is people accepting the message of peace.
The interview marked the 10th anniversary of the Words of Peace television series being aired in Brazil. In part 1 of the interview, Prem Rawat and Fernando Treza discussed a variety of topics, including the human need for peace and the profound impact of the Words of Peace television series in Brazil. In part 2, they continue the interview discussing Prem Rawat's humanitarian work through the Prem Rawat Foundation and the transformative effects of his message of peace on people throughout the world.
We are talking about thirst, people that are starving, and things like that. Do you see humanitarian work as being more than just feeding people?
Few years back, I was in this place in India called Ranchi, and I saw that the children were extremely poor. I started talking to somebody who knew about that area, and he told me that the children lacked so much food that they were actually stealing the food from the rats. Where the rats store the food, they would dig it up and they would eat. So I said, what can we do for them? So we started and opened up a kitchen facility and give them food. Not just any kind of food, food that they are familiar with, the food that they would like to eat. So we just began the project and the kids started coming, and of course we didn't want to run it. So we left it to the local
non-profit organization.
No, the local chiefs to say, you run it, we will provide the food, we will provide the facility. Amazing things started to happen. Their health improved. Because now they were having good clean water, good clean food, their health improved. Because of their health, guess what? Just recently, the first child from there completed high school and went on to a university. Education got better. Okay, what else? The crime rate dropped. Because now people could eat. They didn't have to steal to sell to, then get food. So much started to change. Better health, less crime, more education, better success stories. This is what good, clean food and water can do. And the purpose of the Prem Rawat Foundation is not only to bring the message of peace, but to allow people to have peace, prosperity, and to do this with dignity.
That's what I would like to ask you about the Prem Rawat Foundation that you created, because it seems to be that you really work with the peace message, but you also work with, in a way, to help people with food, water, and things like that. And I would like to know, how does it help your work and your purpose? And I mean the peace purpose. There's a relationship between one thing and another.
Well, for me, from my perspective, I wanted to do this as a humanitarian effort. Look, we can talk about peace till we turn blue in the face, but it is hard to talk to a person about peace if their stomach is growling because of hunger. So I wanted to bring some self-sufficiency to the people. So we started this, but I can see that until the fundamentals are taken care of, the basics are taken care of, it is going to be hard for people to accept peace. Not that peace has to come from outside. The peace I'm talking about comes from inside them. But at the same token, it becomes difficult. But as they grow and they become successful members of the society, they can play a big role, a huge role in bringing peace to themselves and their communities. So yes, two are interlinked, but for me, when I started with these projects, it was purely a humanitarian thing, because now we have one in Ghana, Africa, we have one in Dhading, Nepal, and we're going to be opening other ones. And as I watch this unfold, I see what that does to a community, that it is not a very complicated formula. And this is what I always say. It is peace, prosperity. We need prosperity, but prosperity without peace is disaster. Because this is what we have right now. We have a lot of prosperity, but no peace. Not working. Peace, then prosperity, and to do this with a lot of dignity. Not trying to convert people, not trying to change people.
Accepting them.
Accepting them, accepting their beliefs, accepting all of what they are, and yet bringing them the message of peace and bringing them the possibility of prosperity.
Mr. Prem Rawat, can world leaders really make a difference to peace in the world? And how do you think your message can impact them? Because we know that you are always in very big conferences all over the world. Recently, you were talking to people in the Italian Senate and in Rome and things like that. And I would like to know, how can your message impact global leaders?
Well, I must first of all apologize to a lot of the leaders, because I have met a lot of leaders and they're beautiful people and they want peace in their lives too. It's not like that they become leaders and they become different. But I also know that peace will come from every single human being. That global leaders can help by putting ends to the conflicts, by not perpetuating the conflicts, not perpetuating the wars, but helping people understand prosperity and to give people the dignity that they deserve. But peace is within human beings. They need to discover it. They need to explore it. They need to feel it. And if we keep relying on world leaders to bring peace, I'm afraid that is going to be not anytime soon. But if we rely on ourselves as the citizens of the earth, that every single human being has the right to feel peace. It's a fundamental right to feel peace. That if we take that approach, then there can be peace on this earth.
I know that your message arrive to people by TV, by radio, by internet, but there is a educational program for peace in areas like neighborhoods, little societies that need to listen words of peace. And I would like to hear something about a very special community, the prisoners. Normally, people don't matter about prisoners. They are in prison. But you care about them.
I do.
How is your work with people that live in prison? And for sure, if they are in prison, they hadn't a peaceful life.
Well, this is what's very, very interesting. Because this is exactly what you would think. Oh, they're in prison, what hope do they have? But we have a beautiful peace education program. And we have taken it to prisons. And I go to prisons and visit people in prisons and speak to them. And I can tell you that maybe they have done something wrong in their life and that's why they are in prison. But that doesn't mean that they are not a human being. And they need hope too. And are they capable of feeling peace? Yes, they are. Are they willing to see hope? Because otherwise, what's going to happen? Sooner or later, they're going to be released, they commit the crime again, and they're back in prison. The Peace Education Program is really a wonderful program, and it's not only just for prisons, but it is going to libraries, it is going to people's retired homes. It is for really everyone who is interested in peace. And I just hope that that Peace Education Program keeps expanding and expanding and expanding, because everyone who comes across it can truly benefit from it. In San Antonio prison in Texas, one of the things that the officials noted, that people who were going through the peace education program had the lowest rate of return. They were not coming back to prison. They were very impressed with what's going on here. And everywhere, I've been to prisons in South Africa, in Zonderwater. I've been to prison in Argentina. I've been to prison in San Antonio. And when I go there, I see people. You know, it is between the judge and them and the lawyers to figure out who did what wrong and how much punishment they're going to get. But I am there as a human being talking to another human being, bringing the message of hope, bringing the message of peace, because they need to feel this too. And this is what people say. If I would have only heard this message before, I would not be in the prison today. And there are prisoners who want their families to hear the message because they know that their children are taking the same path as them, and they want to break the cycle. We're human beings. We've got to help each other. Who else is going to help us? You know, it's us who have to help each other to realize our potential. All of us. All of us. And all of us have to work in bringing the message of peace and making the peace possible. I am not taking any contract that it is my responsibility to bring peace. No, I am just playing a small part. Everybody has to play their part. Then peace will come.
As we know, you are working through many decades trying to bring peace to people, trying to make people find the peace that's inside themselves. And with your humanitarian work with people that are in prison and things like that, recently you received an award, recognition that was given to Nelson Mandela and Hillary Clinton. And I would like to know, how do you feel receiving this recognition, this kind of awards, and how does it help your work?
Well, I don't see that the awards are just for me. I see that they are recognizing the involvement and the efforts of everyone who is interested on peace, who is interested in having peace on this earth. This is what I see it as. Yes, they may have my name on it, but I really see that that is a recognition of all those people who want peace. Not the critics who say, no, 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 there can never be peace, but it is someone in a beautiful position recognizing the efforts and works of all of us around the world, whoever you are, wherever you are, that you are interested in peace. And that's what's going to make a difference. And the way it helps is that people have a greater understanding, a greater knowledge that there are people on this face of this earth who are genuinely working to bring peace. This is very, very important. Not some concept, not some idea, not some theory, not another book, please, but genuinely hands-on working and are interested in bringing peace on this earth.
São Paulo, where we are recording this wonderful interview, and personally for me it's an historical interview. It's a very complicated area talking about conflicts. Some people say that's safer to live in Baghdad than living in São Paulo. Well, anyway, you received a title as the Ambassador of Peace from UNIPAS, and you also received a citizenship title from this city. I would like to know, why do you think that people that live in a city with so many problems, with conflicts, why are them receiving so well your words of peace?
Well, I think when this message touches the heart, and you know, this is very, very different. It is very easy to touch a person's mind. It is very difficult to touch a person's heart. But when a person's heart is touched, a beautiful reality starts to take place. You know, when it hasn't rained for a long time and the first rain begins, there is an incredible smell, a beautiful perfume. It is the smell of the earth absorbing that water. Now, you can actually, and definitely in India, you can actually buy this perfume. But to smell it in real,
different.
It's completely different. And the same thing when the heart gets touched. This is not about theory. I'm so thankful to the people who gave me, the UNIPAS, who gave me the Ambassador of Peace. Every time I go out there, try to talk to people, I try to uphold the standard of what they have given me. Be the Ambassador of Peace. And I would like to see nothing more than the 7 billion people on the face of this earth to be the ambassador of peace. Each one.
Well, we are here celebrating 10 years of this so special TV program in South America, especially here in Brazil. And I would like to know what's your vision through the next 10 years from now.
More and more and more of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful expression of peace, of joy, that being alive does not have to be painful, that it is the most beautiful thing that can be celebrated, that the breath comes into me, the breath comes into you, and that is the most direct gift of the Creator. Every time you are touched, the same power that keeps this universe and all the universes intact just came and touched you too, in the expression of the coming of this breath, of the expression of coming of this day, in the expression of coming of the understanding, in the expression of coming of the clarity, in the profound, most profound expression, the expression of peace.
Okay. You use a lot of stories and sense of humor in your TV show, and this was one of the reasons I really enjoy it. Could you give us some examples of these real stories that reach people?
In this day and age, it's not specifically about a certain group of people or a certain individual, but just trying to reflect upon our silliness, how silly we can sometimes be. And one of the stories that I give is, once upon a time, there was this kingdom. And in this kingdom, the king heard a message one day that a man far away from his capital had discovered a way to live forever. So now the king was, I have to know this way to live forever. So he called his ambassador and he said, now I want you to go to this person and learn the way to live forever. And please don't delay. Leave now. Well, the ambassador said, okay, I'll leave. So he went home, he packed, and he left. And the king is waiting, because he wants to live forever. So he's waiting for the ambassador, and 2 days later, the ambassador comes back and says, King, I have very bad news. As soon as I got there, the man who had figured a way to live forever had died. And the king was furious. You delayed. If you would have reached there in time, this man would have been alive. You could have learned the way to live forever. You could come back. You could have taught me the way to live forever. And I would have been able to live forever. Now, when you hear that story, it's like, but it's so real. Because people don't understand that if this man truly had figured out a way to live forever,
he wouldn't die.
He wouldn't die.
For sure.
But the king didn't look at that obviousness. To the king, it was like, you delayed. And so, there was big discussion about if he wouldn't have delayed, whose fault it is, and everything else. Finally, a wise man was walking by, heard the commotion, came in, said, why are you fighting with each other? And so when the story was explained, he said, isn't it obvious to you? But this is what we go through. We don't look at the obvious in our lives. We don't look at the obvious. Do we have a plan for a lifetime? Or only for tomorrow? What is a lifetime? Not that big. If you live to be 100 years old, that's only 36,500 days. Not 360,000, only 36,500 days. Do you have a plan for 36,500 days? What do you want to accomplish in your lifetime? In your lifetime. Not one day, not 5 years, not 15 years, not 20 years, in your lifetime. And I am saying to people, look at the obviousness. You're alive, and you have the opportunity, because you have a life, to accomplish something. Make it beautiful. And nothing, in my opinion, at least, is more beautiful than peace. When a human being is in peace, they are exquisitely beautiful. Exquisitely beautiful. When does a horse look beautiful? When it's running, when it's doing, when it's free, when it's showing its beauty. We need to do the same thing. If a horse can do it, we can do it.
Okay. We need to look for being in our best way.
Best way to be in peace.
Mr. Prem Rawat, thank you very much for your words of peace today and this interview. It was very nice to hear your opinions about all this peace process that you are heading all over the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.